I'm Carrie, and I'm here to tell you about ethnography. Ethnography is an in-depth description and interpretation of the shared or common practices and beliefs of a culture, social group, or other community. Better stated, it's a scientific study of human interactions in social settings. Ethnography gives voices to people and allows one to tell an authentic story about those people from the perspectives of their own culture and community. For example, let's look at the Potato Head community. One might explore their common practice of dressing up like movie characters and holiday icons. Ethnography has been used in the field of anthropology for many years and has recently been more commonly used by the educational community. A researcher may act as a privileged observer or as a participant observer. A researcher entering into an ethnographic study must keep an open mind about the group being studied. However, they do not enter a study without preparation. Ethnographers enter a study with questions to be answered, techniques for study, and often with biases and preconceived notions about how people behave and what they think. There is also great importance for the researcher conducting the study to immerse him or herself into the study for a period of time, often an extended period of time. When a researcher enters into this culture, social group, or community, it is important that they interact with the people being studied to develop a rapport with people in order to gain a more thorough understanding of the phenomenon of interest. Once in the environment, the observer conducts a naturalistic observation to observe interactions, settings, and so forth. Another way of gathering information from participants is by interviewing. This may involve the interviewer participating in conversations with members of the group being studied. These can range from making small talk to long interviews. And may also involve handing out questionnaires. Ethnography begins with a theory, and this theory is either an explicit educational theory or an implicit personal theory about how interactions take place within that culture or group setting. In other cases, an opportunity arises to investigate an interesting situation or group of people. A researcher needs to remember that the data collected needs to embrace the authenticity of that culture. Therefore, researchers occasionally have to give up or modify an original theory if it does not fit with the data. The purpose of ethnography is to explain a feature of a group. Therefore, nearly any topic on social behaviors can be studied using ethnography. Ethnography is descriptive research. However, it is in a category of its own because it focuses on social behaviors and relies on qualitative data. A hypothesis and research questions often emerge after research has begun rather than at the beginning, and research findings are interpreted with reference to that particular group. Ethnography makes an effort to be holistic, yet often falls short of gathering the whole picture. This is due to the fact that the readers of an ethnographer's report may disagree with the interpretations and conclusion, and the explanations may be different from other people's explanations in the field. While many ethnographers may attempt to be holistic in practice, not all investigations are on a large scale involving a whole culture. Some researchers choose to focus on a small aspect of the community, As with the size of the population, the amount of time spent studying a group may vary greatly from only a few weeks to several years. Typically, ethnographic studies require prolonged time in the field to gather the appropriate amount of information for the study. Another important factor of gathering data is to take account of the variations in context. People may display different kinds of behavior in relation to the environment. A researcher may be aware of the reasons for certain behavior within a context, or the reasons may become apparent once the data collection is underway. It is important that the researcher understand the difference between a place and a context. For instance, behaviors that occur in a bar may also occur elsewhere. It is not the bar, per se, that is creating those behaviors. By assuming the bar is responsible for the behavior, a researcher could be led into false generalizations about attitudes and behaviors. Furthermore, it is important to recognize how people in the setting act and be aware that these are often due to social constructions, not physical locations. As with any study, generalization of the population studied is of concern, and often difficult because the researchers conduct studies on single cases or a small number of cases. This makes it difficult to generalize the information for a larger population. However, this is not always the case. In some cases, a researcher may engage in action research or evaluation research, either of which are not intended to be generalized. Observations produce an enormous amount of notes, which encompass the data collected in the study. Upon completion of the observations, the researcher must evaluate and organize the data collected. This organization often requires as much time as it took to originally collect the data. When assessing the data, researchers look for patterns that provide insight into the group's functions. Reflecting on specific questions may help to formulate interpretations. Examples of such questions include, are there any commonalities? What are key life perspectives of the group? How do they solve or deal with problems? What are the preferred activities? What patterns are identified? What are the effects of those patterns? A final step in the process is to compose an ethnographically informed report, which is the most common medium for presenting findings. With this report, one should include pictures, charts, and any other digital media created. In addition, the information presented must be in the language the audience understands. This concludes the presentation on ethnography. Thanks for watching.